So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Melinda Bowden from Promo Hits, a longtime sponsor of AAF Toledo. And a huge thank you, Melinda, for taking the time to arrange our topic and our speaker and our special guest today. So Melinda, take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Sue. So today the topic is a virtual experience event. And I became fascinated with this concept because of our speaker today. And she was the one that introduced me to these initially. And of course, the part that I love about them the most is the fact that they use promotional products. So everyone that received a box, you received a number of items that had our name on them. And so I believe strongly that after today's event, every time you use one of those promotional products in your home, you will think of today. You will think what we did, what you did, the drink that we're going to make later, and what you learned. And that is the power of promotional products and why I believe they are so important to use, especially in this type of event when you're not seeing each other face to face except through video. The touch of a promotional product later will help recall you and your company. So think about that as you listen today to our speaker and see how this format may be of interest to you and your business. So I'll proceed now to introduce our speaker. Our speaker is Tina Odell, who is a global partner marketing representative of Juniper Networks. Bringing 20 years of experience in the tech and healthcare industries, Tina has built sustainable, transformational improvements across organizations in a variety of key functions. Her depth of experience scales across sales, marketing, new product launch, channel relationships, and customer services. Currently, as a thought leader, she is responsible for developing a robust understanding of customers and the strategies and objectives of Juniper's direct and partner sales teams. This results in identifying new opportunities, which provide tremendous benefits to Juniper and its customers. With passion and persistence, Tina engages with internal stakeholders to create and execute the marketing and demand generation strategy in key vertical markets, both direct and through Juniper partners. Her people skills and knowledge of dollars and cents are validated from her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Ohio Northern University in Finance and Management. She possesses mad carpool skills, makes time to volunteer for women's, children's, and leadership nonprofits, all while dancing to the rhythm of life with her husband and 3 children in Findlay, Ohio. Please welcome our speaker, Tina Odell.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you today. Glad to be here. Thanks for sharing your meeting with me and allowing me to come and share some of my experiences with you. I am going to go ahead and share my slides and share my screen. I would say I welcome you to unmute yourselves and ask questions or share experiences. Would love to hear those that will make the presentation, the experience more inclusive and I think more beneficial overall. You're free to also put some things in the chat. I'll see how well I can monitor the chat as well as sharing my screen as we go along. Looks like I can at least see pictures.
Tina, if it's okay with you, this is Sue. I'll keep my eye on the chat box and just interrupt you as I see stuff coming in.
That would be great. That would be really appreciated.
Will
Thank
do.
you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this. As Melinda said, I've been doing this marketing thing for 20 plus years now, always selling through a channel. So in my instances, I've been on one side or the other of selling, but never direct to the customers or very rarely direct to the customers. So it takes a little bit extra effort to market and sell, you know, when you are going through another entity to reach your end customers or to motivate that other entity to align their sales efforts with you. The brief period that I was at a channel partner had the opposite, you know, impression, had a lot of these manufacturers reaching out to us, trying to get us to leverage things the way that they wanted to do and reach out to the customers in the manner that they wanted. And we had to do what was right for us. Spent the last 6 years working for one of these technology vendors, Juniper Networks, as a remote employee out of my home office here in Ohio. So I've got a lot of experience when it comes to virtual meetings and what works and what doesn't. And I will say, pre-March 2020, everyone's vision of being a remote employee was similar to what you see here on the screen. Everyone thought you got to just lounge around in your PJs all day and just sort of have a part-time job on a full-time salary. And while you can wear comfy clothes, and I've certainly taken advantage of that throughout the years, what it's more like is that virtual meetings can quickly, as they become the new norm, the days get longer, your focus time to do actual work and get things done gets shorter. And even as someone who's done this for 6 years, I certainly saw this happen right after COVID hit. I do a lot of my work with colleagues in Europe, in Asia Pacific, and out of the corporate office in California. So I suddenly realized that as those colleagues were also working from home, I no longer benefited from their morning commute hours or their evening commute hours, where I would get a bit of a reprieve from meetings and have time to actually get focused work done. So it quickly started being that cameras were always on and meetings were happening at extended hours, and it became much more difficult to control the workday. And sometimes it just gets exhausting to be on camera all day. And that exhaustion quickly became known as Zoom fatigue. So by May 2020, there were actually multiple articles from reputable scientific platforms, business platforms, in magazines, coining this new term, Zoom fatigue, and that people were getting and starting to find themselves choosier about the virtual invitations that they accepted because they're required to be on camera all day long. My 6 years of working at Juniper, the first 5, I rarely participated in a meeting where cameras were on. We had one colleague out in California that if you were ever on a meeting with him, you knew that you would have to have cameras on because he insisted on it. His name was Stan. Anyone else, it was very uncommon to have the cameras on. So you never had to sit and look at yourself throughout the day. You weren't constantly trying to keep eye contact with everybody that's in the room to make sure that they felt that you were interested and focused on what they were saying. But suddenly, with everyone working from home, there was this new emphasis on cameras on, eye contact, focus. Companies that were not accustomed to having employees work remote wanted to make sure that their employees were actually at their desk and available and doing their work. So it became more challenging for those of us in marketing roles and even those in HR roles or other training roles that need to get people to show up for meetings and training to get those audiences and to build them. So how do you battle that meeting fatigue? It really requires spicing it up. So when that virtual event is engaging, it can increase that team camaraderie. It can build that rapport. It can extend your brand's reach if you're in a marketing role or you're building and engaging with external audiences. You can actually generate future leads, and it can also serve as a thank you to your customers. So those are some of the things that, with meetings done right, with meetings having a creative element to them, that's something that you're able to build on and provide. So what does that look like? Adding engaging elements is a really simple thing that you can do for internal meetings. I know in April, May, had a number of happy hour events. And it was as simple as, hey, we know everybody is stuck inside. You can't go to restaurants. You can't go, out to the grocery. You can't go out and get your hair cut. But hey, let's have a team happy hour. We can at least, hang out for a bit and just have, small talk and get to know each other. So people would schedule a block of time and everyone would bring their own beverage and participate. And then things started getting more and more creative. There were interactive elements like games. We did virtual bingo with our executive team and the entire department. That was a lot of fun. They took the virtual bingo card and turned it into all terms that deal with our business. So they were mostly our technology. And then we played bingo in multiple ways. It wasn't just the traditional vertical and horizontal lines. It was covering the entire board. It was making an X. It was doing a T. And there were prizes, and all the prizes were branded items, from our Juniper store, which was great. And it was just a fun way to hang out and play bingo for, I think it was 60 or 90 minutes that we did this. And actually during our bingo, the CEO of our company actually dropped into our Zoom event for a bit, which was a big surprise. And everyone just thought it was really cool because while Rami is a very down-to-earth guy that you can absolutely approach if you're ever in the same building with him, no one really expected that he would drop by our virtual bingo event and check in to see how we were doing. So just some things that you can do if you need to get employees together, if you're concerned about employees and how they're handling this extended time of being at home, just adding a little bit of creativity and some pre-planning. There's a lot of fun things that you can do, and prizes and interaction are always a good way to get that going. So another thing that we did that I just wanted to draw to your attention, so if you have a bigger event coming up and you have a little bit more time to plan, you can do things like holiday party escape room. We did this with our executive team. It was a group within our company that is known as the Rising Leaders. So it is a group of up-and-coming managers that are being exposed to some different trainings, some special projects. They're getting more time with the executive team to help make those mentor sponsor connections. And we planned our holiday party around a couple of concepts. One, we knew that we wanted to do some sort of activity where the people in this group would actually get to engage with the executives. And so we broke up into escape room teams. We did a virtual escape room, and I'll share the name of that company later in this slide. They organized the event for us. They assigned one person per team to help us navigate the 5 different puzzles we had to solve to make it out of the room that we were in. But to start off that meeting, we decided we wanted to have an icebreaker. The icebreaker was a 5-minute themed scavenger hunt. So as we had these 10 teams for these escape rooms, we picked 5 themes that people had to dress up as, and you were not told ahead of time. When we announced the teams at the beginning, we also said each team has a theme, and you have 5 minutes to go turn off your camera, go out throughout your house, put on whatever you can find that matches your theme, and then come back. And we did a comparison of which team did it better. So we had holiday PJs, we had a winter Wonderland escape vacation, we had a beach vacation escape, we had Disney princesses, and we had one other, and Christmas sweaters, ugly Christmas sweaters. So we did those, and so it was just really fun. It was a great way to get people to get out of their seats, to go do something, to just kind of clear their heads, free their brains. And when they came back, it was fun to see what people could put together in the 5 minutes that they had and to do the who wore it better. So just a couple of things that you can do to kind of liven things up, to make what otherwise would be a training. This was our holiday party, but what could be a training to be something more fun. We did something similar with an inclusion and diversity training where we each built one PowerPoint slide. If you wanted, you could volunteer of how you would celebrate the holidays. And by doing that, we shared customs, we shared family recipes, family traditions. It was just a great way for the team, which spanned we did the Americas separate from EMEA and separate from Asia Pacific, but even within the Americas, there were Indian heritage, there was, American, European, Brazilian. There were just lots of great traditions that were shared, and it's all voluntary. For that event, to get everybody to come to the event, the leaders actually, when they sent out the invitation that this was a inclusion diversity training event, they told each attendee they could select a t-shirt design. So they had pre-made with a promotional products vendor like Melinda, 3 different t-shirt designs, and you could pick which design you liked. They were all diversity themed, and you could actually select the size that you wanted, and it was shipped to your house in advance. And so everyone was wearing their t-shirts the day of that event. So not only did it help get people in the mindset of the diversity inclusion training, it got people all on camera, and you got to see which t-shirt design people were choosing. And then as the leaders who volunteered to go first shared their slides, other people in the meeting were quickly building slides on the side and, you know, wanting to share their slides and share their family recipes and share their traditions. And it was just a really great opportunity. Lots of heartwarming stories of volunteer work, you know, recipes handed down for generations, you know, just a lot of a good discussion that helped us to get to know one another on a different level. So another opportunity is friendly competition. Who doesn't like competition? This is a great one, again, to use internally if you've got external salespeople, internal employees that support them. It can really help to do things like the best Zoom background, you know, for a meeting. You know, perhaps it's a regular quarterly meeting that you need people to attend, and not only do you want them to attend, but you want them to spice things up a little bit and be engaged. There's a difference of sitting in front of your computer with the camera off and just half listening and spending time, you know, looking at things on your phone versus being 100% there and present. And some of the things that you can do to get people to be present are to just add some fun elements and some friendly competition into your meeting. So best Zoom background is a really simple, easy one to do. You can pick a different theme for every meeting that you have and spend 2-3 minutes at the top of the call, you know, looking at people's backgrounds, allowing people to vote, and that person gets a prize. In this picture, we did something in October. It was themed for Halloween. It had the best Zoom background, the best costume, the least effort, so that people that were uncomfortable had a category that they could compete in. We had trivia. We did a variety of trivia that afternoon, and there were prizes for that. And again, Team Scavenger Hunt is a great one that you can do in any meeting. You can get, you know, if you're going to have small work groups in a Zoom meeting and you want to find a way to get those individuals working together quickly to get them brainstorming and really bonding, you can give a small assignment. Maybe you have 4 work groups. The way we did it was actually each work group got to put together a list of 5 items, and then the list got shuffled, and so another team got your list, and they had to go find the things on your list. That was an interesting one. Some of the things that people came up with, like a 5-inch red stiletto. So you would find out who has some of these really unique items in their home. So just a great way, you know, to mix things up a little bit and add some friendly competition to it. So these meetings so far, we've talked about more internal focus. You could do a little bit with clubs and organizations too, you know, with those types of themes. But how do you flip the script and do this with clients or with prospects? So here's a couple of examples of packages that we've done here at Juniper Networks. The first example you see with the astronaut and the champagne and the orange juice and the glass and the Tang packet was for an Elevate Customer Awards event. So all of those things are themed around our awards event, which are called the annual Elevate Customer Awards. And normally we would do this in person. It would be at our annual customer conference. Of course, the customer would be treated with a swag bag. They would be brought into a really elegant dinner. We would have a champagne toast. We would announce the winners of that award. We couldn't do all of that this year. But what we could do is we could still send this really nice package to our customers. We could still have an intimate meeting where our executives were announcing the awards and raising a champagne toast, or at this point, it was, I believe, a morning meeting, and that's why we have the mimosa mix there together, or the Tang for those that do not drink alcohol. They can make a Tang beverage and do a toast with the Tang. So we tried to look at, you know, how can we make this experience still memorable and still fun? And there's a lot of great things you can do with the Zoom meeting. You might actually get more of an intimate feeling as far as the ability to talk to an executive and ask questions over a Zoom meeting, that in a big conference with hundreds of other attendees all trying to get 2 minutes of an executive's time, that might be something that you have to compete more for. So we were able to replicate this event and still have it done very nicely. The second package is Partner Advisory Council. Once a year, we get our partners who do the direct sales to our customers together, and our top partners, we run by them changes we're thinking about making to the partner program. We talk to them about upcoming product releases under NDA and pricing, and we want to get some of their feedback about how to improve our programs. So again, normally this would be done as an event. It would be at a destination. We would have really great dinners. We would have cocktail hours. But when you're moving these things to a virtual format, you're taking what would have been traditionally a day or a day and a half experience, and you're boiling it down to 2 to 3 hours. So how do you, replicate some of the fun and some of the high touch in that? And again, it just comes with a lot more planning up front. So knowing up front, you got to tighten up that agenda and boil it down to just the most important parts. You still need to bake in some of that high touch. So here you can see we did a really nice box, really nice job on the packaging. And inside that box was this really great coffee kit, and there was speakers and some other things in there that were all to make the experience of that event more enjoyable. So, and it's all branded. They were sent in advance for these partners to open. And I can tell you on both of these pictures ended up out on LinkedIn and social media by the customers and the partners that attended. They were both very pleased to receive these packages, very pleased to participate in the events, felt very good about how the events were turned into a virtual format. And part of that is replicating some of those pieces that you can, such as the swag. If you're not paying for a venue and you're not paying for catering and you're not paying for travel, you can put some of that money into doing a really nice gift that goes to the partner or the customer in advance, and then tightening up that agenda so that it's interactive, that it's two-way conversation, and you can still get the elements out of that meeting that you need to. Another example I wanted to share is prospecting. So this is an example where I was actually the person being targeted to attend a meeting. And I actually did attend this meeting, and I invited Melinda to join me because I wanted to see if I chose to do this type of meeting, how we could work together to pull this off. So it was a wine tasting event by a company that was company that was hosting it, that provided the sommelier, was Chief Wine Officer. The company that was paying them to host the event was a content management platform that was targeting marketing people and IT people like myself to utilize their services. So what they used was a LinkedIn conversational ad. One day when I logged into LinkedIn, immediately I got a conversational message. So it's like a LinkedIn message, but it doesn't pop on your screen until you log in. If you've ever logged into LinkedIn and then suddenly had a message pop up and thought, oh, wow, that's kind of random. I just logged in and someone just now sent me a message. Well, that's called a conversational message that LinkedIn has the ability for someone to target you and launch that message after you've logged in. That's what this company did. I really liked what they were offering. It looked like they were going to do a wine tasting. It was in my home. It was in the evening. I read the details a little bit on their site. It said they will deliver fine wines straight to your door, which they absolutely did. Got 4 different wines, 1 full bottle, and then 3 smaller bottles. We did a 4 set wine tasting in my home, and then they had a sommelier that would talk to us about the wine that we were tasting and give you advice and tips on how to make selections, and then it would shift over to the content management company, who would tell you a little bit about their company, and then back to a tasting, back to the wine company. It was very well done, and was on the phone for about 2 hours on a Zoom meeting one evening got to know several of the other attendees fairly well, connected with them on LinkedIn afterwards, did have some interest in the content management platform. More importantly, they locked in my contact information. They had what in the marketing world is known as a double opt-in, because LinkedIn, anyone that has a profile on LinkedIn is single opted in to being targeted by these types of ads. And then once you respond to something like this, it's considered a double opt-in. So now they have your record and they are able to market to you without breaking any laws. We're not very strict on that here in the United States, but in Europe, with GDPR, it's very strict to have that double opt-in, and California is starting to hone in on some of those same privacy laws. So it was really awesome to participate. It was a nice turnkey event. It could be very customized. They did these on different, offered them at different times and grouped together regionally different prospects to do this event. I've also seen this done as I want to say magician, but that's not what he goes by. But Oz, he's an entertainer that does illusionist. He's an illusionist is what he is. And I've actually participated in 2 of his different events. And both times I've just had my mind blown how this illusionist can work with a group of people over Zoom and perform some of the same illusions that he would in person with you as an audience. And in that scenario, families are often invited, definitely spouses. You can bring children into that scenario. And I actually participated, was not chosen in advance. I just was randomly, I volunteered and participated, had to grab some cash from my purse, bring it to in front of the screen and show how he actually guessed how much that I had. And then he asked me to pull out my highest bill, which was a 20, and write the name of the company that sponsored the event on there and show that I did that. At the end of the event, he's doing this random exercise where he is going through the crowd of people on Zoom and asking people just to give different numbers, different 6-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, pick your favorite number. And he's punching them into a calculator, and then he does several more calculations, and then he calls on me again, which I was not expecting, and asked me to read the serial number on my $20 bill, which I did. And he holds his calculator up, and it was the exact serial number of my $20 bill. So just amazing the things that can be done. It was a very memorable experience for everyone on there in large crowds. There were like 50 people on the first one that I attended. So definitely something that was easy to replicate and easy to pull people into, because it was an experience, because it was fun, and you could have multiple people attend with you, not just you being isolated into a meeting. So there's definitely opportunities out there to build rapport with prospects and potential partnerships, deepen relations, with existing customers, to do, and there's lots of opportunities to identify how to put on your own virtual experience. So here's some resources, and Melinda will share slides with you afterwards, but Airbnb has a whole section of virtual experiences that they offer on their website now. It's one of the things they've done to survive COVID. Alice's Table is one that does flower trimming classes and flower arranging classes. Main Event does a number of events, Thriver, TripAdvisor, Viator. We Crush Events, that's the company that did the virtual escape room and did an excellent job. And then there's tons of online games that you can utilize. So game shows, build your own bingo cards and those sorts of things. And the prices on some of these things can be as little as $11. Usually they're priced per head, but you can see here there's a virtual interactive Cuban cocktail class with a Miami expert. It's $55 for the group. So there's lots of different pricing for these events, and you can always spice these up even more by sending in advance a kit that allows people to participate. So with a cooking demonstration, I've had a special cooking utensil sent, the recipe card, a grocery shopping card of what to go buy or gather from my house. And so having that kit show up in advance is a good reminder. It's also a little bit of a trigger, as well as you feel guilty if you don't show up for the event then if someone has shipped in a kit. So that will help ensure that your audience shows up to participate. So at this point, every office needs an ambassador of fun. Is that going to be you? There's a lot of people on this call today that you could be the ambassador of fun for your office. So how would you get started? I suggest, defining your audience and your goals for the meeting, and you want to start well in advance. Like I said, if you're going to be ordering product and you're going to be shipping it in or allowing people to select their T-shirt or the options, that they need, to gather together, you want to allow enough time to be able to ship those things and order those things, get them recipe cards in advance if that's something that they need, and then pick the right platform. Zoom is great because it allows you to break out into rooms and then come back together. Sometimes you need a bigger platform if you're hosting a large virtual summit. We've done that a couple of times, and we use a large virtual experience platform where we can have hundreds of people coming in, and you have networking areas, and you have a virtual trade show space. But for most meetings, you can use Zoom or Teams or a similar type platform, and it works just fine. Determine the experience that you're trying to create. Are you trying to make it fun and interactive? Are you trying to make sure that people keep the cameras on? Are you wanting to get people in the right mindset at the top of the meeting so that they'll participate throughout the meeting? Those are all some things that you need to plan for and work in some icebreakers or exercises to do. And then setting your attendees' expectations ahead of time. If people need to be on camera, if you could let them know ahead of time, people are more likely to show up dressed and feeling comfortable to be on camera. If you send them T-shirts or something that they're supposed to wear, maybe it's hats, or you let them know that today is going to be Mardi Gras celebration day, if we would have had this yesterday, and then maybe people would show up wearing beads and purple, green, and gold to celebrate Mardi Gras. So just let them know ahead of time so that they have time to warm up to that and be prepared. And then just mind the timing and have fun. The thing that people are getting tired of are the back-to-back meetings that are all just jump in, do the work, move on to the next one. The opportunity to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more fun, to break from the norm and collaborate and get to know each other a little bit better is often appreciated. And you can do this, like I said, with employees. You can do it for training. You can do it just as team building. You can do it with customers and partners, but you can also prospect using virtual meetings. It's all about just having a good plan, knowing what your goals are, and then building that out and having a good partner to do it with. So at this point, I am done. I would love to entertain some questions or have people share maybe some of their experiences of virtual meetings. Is there anything that we've talked about today that's going to inspire you to try something different?
Tina, I just wanted to say thanks that the information that you presented really speaks to the wide range of audience members we have today. So I know we have folks in a human resource capacity in charge of training. We've got people in business development or sales roles. We do have traditional marketers, of course. We have small business owners. We have people that work for nonprofits. So I think the information that you provided here really transcends all of those backgrounds, all of those goals. That was awesome.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I know it's been useful to us. All of us are in the same boat right now. We're lucky in Ohio. I don't know if we all realize that, but we have more ability to go to bars and restaurants and hairdressers and do shopping than many of my colleagues do in California and throughout Europe. So we're not as stir crazy as some of them are, but some people are pretty locked in at this point and are craving still some virtual experiences while being Zoom fatigued at the same time. So craving something different than the day-to-day work meetings.
Indeed. And for those folks out in the audience that aren't from a marketing background, in the beginning, you talked a lot about channel partners and working with channel partners. Can you explain just a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, for us, being a technology company, we do not typically sell our product direct to consumers. So less than 3% of our products are sold direct to consumers. So what we do is we have a group of channel partners, so smaller technology firms, some larger like Verizon, AT&T, that resell our products. So our job is to educate them on how our technology works, how to sell, deploy, install, customize our platforms. And then they're the ones that reach out directly to the customers to engage with them, to educate them on our products and drive those sales. But we often do events together. So we often have private events for our channel partners and then have combined events with our channel partners and their customers to recognize some of those customers and the work that they are doing. So it's a bit of a challenge to keep everyone on the same page in that scenario because it's not a direct sales force that you can play carrot and stick with. It's a lot more, here's the carrot, 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 and occasionally there's a stick for not doing things. But it's worked out well for Juniper. We're doing quite well. And we're fortunate in the pandemic that, you know, we've been able to keep our employees employed and be able to move them into a work from home environment and support a lot of other companies in setting up work from home flexibility in doing that as well.
And a question out there to our audience, does anybody have a specific challenge that they're dealing with and how to engage either an internal audience of fellow coworkers, employees, or an external audience, whether that's clients or channel partners? What are some things you're struggling with?
Hi, Tina. My name is Jessica Santabanez. I was invited to attend this, and I really wasn't sure what this was about, but I'm so excited that I attended. I own an insurance and financial services agency. So prior to COVID, we did retirement seminars about one a quarter. And we would just go to a nice restaurant, we would pay for dinner, and then talk about retirement planning. During COVID, that created a huge issue for us because, you know, restaurants were closed, and therefore that segment of our business was kind of lagging throughout the year because of, you know, trying to get in touch and face-to-face with our clients. So we tried to do Zoom meetings and our retirement seminars virtual. Well, the attendance was down. You know, about 20 people said that they would register and they would come, and then we would only get about 4 or 5. So I'm really excited about this. This is the first I've heard of this type of marketing. But I think that, you know, when we have our virtual meetings, you know, having a little cocktail hour, I think it would be a little bit more personable. And then not only that, but it would give kind of an incentive like, hey, this is just not a meeting that we're going to talk about boring retirement planning and different investments, but hey, we're going to have a cocktail and then we're going to talk about retirement and boring investments. But so I'm really excited about this. So my hat's off to you for doing this.
Yeah, I think that it could work really well for you, especially you can work with local bartenders and mixologists. You can work with local restaurants to do a cooking class. And getting that kit in front of them ahead of time. Think about the money you would spend on the dinner and put that into a kit and entertainment. So you're teaching them how to make a specific appetizer. Maybe it's an appetizer and you give them a recipe to make their own cocktail, and the cocktail ingredients come from their own home, but you're walking them through how to make something special. I mean, everyone loves that kind of stuff. A cooking class, a mixology class, floral arrangement. I mean, depending on who your audience is, you know, find something that you think will play and something that people can do together. You know, so you're encouraging your potential retiree to invite maybe a friend that they've both been COVID friendly and to the same home and participate together. I mean, I invited Melinda to my wine tasting. She wasn't directly targeted, but she got to benefit, and they were able to expose their message to one more person. So I think by being more flexible, the other one I would really encourage is maybe something like an illusionist, because that was actually fun for all ages. And it's something that, again, you could encourage them to, bring together people in their household, to participate in this, that after a brief presentation, 15, 20 minutes, there's going to be, 45 minutes of, this illusionist providing entertainment for the evening. So lots of good options to use.
Yeah. Because it's never too early to start replanning for retirement, right, Jessica?
That's right.
Exactly. I think so.
My son's a college freshman. He's already planning because he doesn't want to work his whole life, he says.
Good for him.
Tina, we do have one question in the chat box. Do you have examples of how to overcome pushback from team members or leadership?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think team members, you're always going to have some people that are skeptical, but you're going to have some people that are excited that you're doing something different around a theme. I think allowing room to be comfortable with either, like with our costume party that we did, we allowed a category that you could not dress up at all, and not, maybe that's not your custom, maybe that's something that you're just not comfortable with. So we built in a category where non-participation was also rewarded, but those that really enjoy that sort of thing can. From a leadership perspective, I think you just need to tie it back to what are some of the company's goals around inclusion, diversity, around training, around making sure that people understand compliance, building in, knowing that there's something important that we need to accomplish, and really kind of selling the aspect of, if we introduce a couple of fun concepts into the meeting, we'll get more people to show up, we'll get people to be cameras on and more fully focused on the agenda. And by, then offering some prizes at the end, it sort of ups the fun factor. And then ask people to rank your meetings at the end. That can help too. That way you can show that the overall attitude towards the meeting, just the reception of the meeting was higher. So I think it comes back to finding some metrics that you can tie your ideas into, and then going out on the limb and showing that you can have improvements in those metrics if we do something a little bit different. And I think if the leadership participates, they will see how much more engaged people are, and happy employees are so much more productive. There's tons of statistics around that.
And maybe send that management team a box of alcohol and give them some fun, and then ask them to sign off on the next few events, right?
Yeah. The other thing we've done is just snack boxes. So everything doesn't have to be around alcohol, but 2020 was the year of alcohol, I think. So, and it's a lot easier to ship everything but the alcohol. So I will give that tidbit. And no one seems to mind needing to provide their own vodka or bourbon if you just provide the glass and the mixer and the recipe card and some of the things that your brand would go on anyway that you want to live on longer. People are usually willing to provide their own alcohol, and we always offer a mocktail recipe for every cocktail recipe. So if people don't drink alcohol, they can participate in the mocktail.
Great idea. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Melinda to introduce our mixologist.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Tina. I enjoy your speak every time I hear you speak because you have such great ideas. So thank you very much. And now I want to introduce our mixologist, Jeff Otterson. Jeff is currently the general manager of Orem Food and Wine, located in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Orem is part of the restaurant company Destination Hospitality, which has several locations in the ski resort markets of Colorado. His duties include designing cocktail menus and creating wine lists for the restaurant, as well as assisting sister companies and updating the beverage menus seasonally. In 2019, Jeff entered, so pre-COVID, keep that in mind, Jeff entered a cocktail competition and took first prize, which was a 2-week trip to Spain. That's why I say keep that in mind, because you wouldn't have been able to do that last year.
Definitely not.
This winter at Orem, 4 private dining yurts were built to help combat the challenges posed by COVID to his company, as well as the entire restaurant industry. Next winter, Jeff will be taking over the Carlin in Breckenridge, which will house a cocktail lounge, event space, and fine dining restaurant. It will also house 4 nightly rental luxury suites in case you're looking for someplace to go later. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, thanks for having me. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
Yeah, it's about 10:15 in the morning here, which is perfect time to mix a cocktail, I guess. It's been snowing for the last week straight, so we're pretty much socked in right now, but absolutely beautiful outside. Anyway, I want to run you through, guys, what we have in the box first, just all of our ingredients, everything. I know a lot of you don't have the video on, but I'm hoping you can hear me and see me and everything. So I'll just go through what we have. First of all, we have the cocktail glass, the rocks glass. We have our shaker with the measuring cup on top. We are going to do our bitters in the eyedropper, tequila in the shooter. We got Aperol in this one, and Saint Germain elderflower liqueur in the other one here. And other things, we're going to do our cutting board. We have the recipe card, a lemon, a grapefruit, and some hand wipes. Hope everybody has all that stuff in front of them, and everybody took the wrapper off their liquor little jugs here. So the drink we're going to make is called Part-Time Lover. We were thinking about this. We were trying to figure out a cocktail that everybody would enjoy, kind of like a crowd-pleasing thing, wasn't too much of something, or someone was going to be left out if they didn't like it. I think, tequila sort of has this stigma of something that maybe you had too much of once and now you can't do it anymore, but it's really, really useful in cocktails, so much more versatile than a margarita. I think we're seeing that a lot in cocktail bars. It's really branched out from just its traditional sugar, lime, tequila kind of thing. So this one does err on the side of slightly bitter and kind of tart, but there is an element of sweetness in there as well. We wanted to make something that you didn't have to make like a syrup or something at home, which is why we avoided sugar cubes or anything. So that's where the Saint Germain comes in. Basically, the Saint Germain is going to provide the sweetness to balance out the citrus and the bitterness of the Aperol. Aperol is a orange liqueur. It's bitter orange liqueur. It kind of has like a mandarin orange as far as like an aperitif, Aperol spritzes. We've all tried those before. There are many other bitter options to use. This one's actually a little softer, so it's a little more agreeable. But anyway, let's just get started, I guess. So we want to grab our shaker. Move this down just a little bit here. Okay. So we're actually going to go in reverse when we build a cocktail. We want to start with the cheapest item that we have. So in case you screw something, get rid of it. That way you're not wasting expensive alcohol when you're bartending at the bar. So we will begin with our bitters here. So bitters is basically you take a neutral grain spirit and you macerate like herbs, different things like that, and just like tea. And you basically let it steep for a number of times, and it imparts all the flavor. Bitters is sort of like the bartender's spice rack is sort of what I call it. It's like your salt and pepper to your drink. It's a binding agent, which works really well. So we'll take 2 full droppers of that, like so. Go right in there. All right. Next, we are going to go to our lemon. So you want to take that with your cutting board. You can cut that right in half. And in your measuring cup, let's do 3/4 of an ounce. So you can see there's an ounce line right there. You want to go about 1/8 of an inch below that. That should be about 3/4. General rule of thumb, half of a lemon will give you about a 1/2 ounce of juice. Don't be afraid if any seeds get in there. We'll strain them out later. So just go ahead and strain into there.
So Jeff, I've heard at one point if you roll your lemon, it juices easier. Is that true?
That is good. That does make sense.
Does it ruin your keyboard when your lemon squirts across your
Yeah,
keyboard?
it's not probably the best part. It's okay though. We're tough. All right, so we got about that. Hopefully nobody's covered in lemon juice. For that, we do have the wipes. You guys want to give yourself a quick bath here?
I did bring my towel. I'm just
Okay.
curious, of the
Yeah.
20-some folks out there, like how many of you have a bartending, serving, food service type background? Anybody?
Couple. Yeah.
you. I drove the beverage cart on a golf course. That almost counts.
There you go. I started working in restaurants when I was 15, and then now here I am, I guess. Okay, then we're gonna go. Next ingredient would be the Saint Germain. These are all the liquors in these little pouches are portioned out correctly, so there's no need to measure anything out. You're just good to go. This is going to be 1/2 ounce of Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, and we'll go right in with that. Beautiful. All right, and then we'll go to the Aperol right up here, which is another 1/2 ounce. You guys want to think always when you're making cocktails, just like when you're making food, the key is balance. You don't want too much of something and not enough of something. It's just like when you're cooking with onions, garlic, salt and pepper, all that. It's just the same thing. Just transfer it right over to drinking.
Story
Alright.
of my life.
And then last but not least, we do have the tequila. This is like just a touch over 1.5 ounces, but no big deal. It'll be just perfect. Unscrew that.
Are we allowed double shot if we want, Jeff?
You supplied the other shot.
Absolutely. I encourage it. I encourage it. All right. We have everything in there. So hope you guys have some ice. I just got a little Tupperware full of mine right here.
Oh, I forgot.
So
I'll
we
be
can
back.
pull a handful. Just about like that is perfect here. You can see the color already coming together. It's kind of this like nice, like light orange, very pretty. Then you can take your mixed top right on there, and then don't forget to put your shot glass over the top of that so you don't spill all over yourself.
Or your
And just
keyboard.
give it a good shake. All right.
Let's hear those
If you want to grab your
shakers.
rocks glass and fill it with some fresh ice if you have it.
Can we use the ice from the shaker or no?
I usually use fresh ice. I just prefer. So I grabbed just a little bit extra and put some fresh ice in the rocks glass. It's not a huge deal if you don't have it, but it's just the way I prefer to do it. And then easy enough, take your thing off the top and just right on in there.
Oh, and we're just taking off the little thing on the top. We have to leave.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yep. The strainer should catch everything. If you had like a lemon seed in there or something, or the old ice, you definitely put that in there. And then to finish it out, we want to take our grapefruit, and you're just going to cut yourself a little peel of the skin. You don't want to go too deep where you get like the pith because it makes it a little bitter, but just try to peel off a little bit of the skin. I'll kind of show you what I'm doing here. Just like that. And then to garnish the drink, you want to squeeze those oils right in there. Just give it a nice little spray. And we are done. Everybody on board?
Woo.
What do you guys think?
Mine's not as pretty as yours, but it's going to get the job done.
It's stronger than I expected, even though I
Yeah, a
watched
little kick
myself
to
make
it.
it.
It smooths out a
Absolutely.
little bit as the ice melts. If you give it just a little bit of time, it smooths
It
out
will,
pretty
yeah.
nicely.
Definitely. There's a slight bitterness in the citriness. The citrus obviously is kind of big, but once your ice settles in there, it'll definitely get a little smoother. But yeah, it does kind of has really bouncy, really like almost like a sharp flavor. But I think pretty agreeable, and like you can imagine when the sun's out, this would be something that would be pretty easy to drink on your porch or something like that for sure.
It's yummy.
You guys have any questions about anything? Like it? Yeah, I think you know, as like trends go with bars, especially like cocktail bars, like for so long, like sweet was such a big thing. And I think that's really going away. And I'm actually a big fan of that. I think a lot of people just use sugar to kind of hide flavors and, you know, irregularities and things. But I'm finding a lot of cocktail bars are moving into like the more bitter spirits. A lot of Amaros, a lot of kind of those things from like old world that American palates don't typically love are sort of coming back into play right now, which is really cool. So I'm a bigger fan of, you know, things like gin and like bitter ingredients and just more unique things besides alcohol and sugar. I think it's just more fun. So
Jeff, what are your must-haves for the liquor cabinet? Like what should we
my
invest in?
must-haves.
Yeah. Like I don't
Well,
have
I
bitters.
think
Should I add bitters?
personally, bitters is a huge part. I mean, I think it really, and it's unbelievable how many they make right now. Like how many different kinds, and there's like apple, there's carrot, there's, you know, English white tea, there's all this kind of stuff. So it really just like has opened the doors to being so creative with everything. It's a
Bitter's
pretty,
just like a syrup? Like what
it's
technically are
no,
they?
not really. It's an alcohol, but you take generally like a
It's a
grain
syrup.
spirit, and you're gonna take a bunch of like that, like bitter things, like things like you make tea out of almost, and you kind of steep it in that, and it creates this this bitter, like kind of binding agent for drinks that works really, really nicely. Angostura, the one we just used, is like by far the most popular. You can find it at any liquor store. It's, you know, it's $6 a bottle, but there's all these like really cool like boutique ones that people make from scratch, and it's pretty cool.
So we need bitters. What else should we add to our liquor cabinet?
I would say definitely you need a good rye and a good bourbon. I actually prefer rye over bourbon with cocktails because again, it's not as sweet. I think there's more spice and it kind of has different flavors to go with it. I think gin is a really good one to have. You guys, the tools are important, honestly, like the shakers and, you know, those kind of things. Once you have that in your house, it's going to make you want to make those drinks more. And it's kind of like a more interactive thing to do with people if you have friends over and stuff. Definitely good vermouths. Those are important. The martini and Rossi stuff you see, like just don't ever buy that. It's just like the Coors Light of vermouth. There's just these way better options that are out there. But honestly, if you go to just like a halfway decent liquor store and, you know, just ask for help, these people are really willing to, it's what they do, you know, and they get excited about people who come in not really knowing what to get and stuff like that. And then making your own syrups is a big one too. You can make, I mean, like ginger syrups, like mango things, passion fruit, like all this stuff, like you can just really get so creative as you want to, just like when you're cooking. It's just, you know, it's endless really. But making it your own is important, I think.
Awesome.
And Melinda, you provide these portion size like liquor in the kit.
So that is one thing that we can do. We did not actually do that part ourselves because we do not have a license for a restaurant or a liquor store, but I have someone near me that has both of those. And so we contracted with them to make sure that everything was done the way you want it to be done. So you know that someone's not, you know, putting something else in there or not wearing their mask or something like that. They know all the rules. So we contracted with them. They even washed the bottles and then did the portioning out for us. And then they also have a liquor license to be able to ship liquor, which is required if you're shipping liquor. And so they took care of that for us as well. So
Nice. I know that's been the challenge when we talk about alcohol with these events. So that's good to know.
Yep. So, and not every wine place or every alcohol place has that shipping ability, but you know, once you find one place, then you're good. So, and I will be sending out a list afterwards. I'll email that out to everyone of some of the places that Tina recommended and mentioned in her speech about where you can find different to hire people. For me, Jeff is the, let me see, my cousin's wife's cousin, if that makes sense. So we married cousins we are cousins of someone who's married. Sorry, Jeff. sorry. But so, you know, sometimes you know someone or you know someone who knows someone. But some of these places are pretty inexpensive too. So I'll make sure you guys get that list. I will also share the name of the company that did cooperate with me on the portioning out of the alcohol and so on. We'd be happy, of course, to coordinate that for you, but it's good to know someone as well in case you need them for something. But yeah, but then we assemble all of the boxes. We can do one of the pictures that Teresa showed, or I'm sorry, Tina showed, had it was the box with the really nice coffee items in it and the speakers and so on. You might have noticed there was some foam around some of those pieces, and that just gives it a much higher class look, a very nice look. I wish we would have been able to do it for our boxes, but a lot of those companies are a little bit busy right now because a lot of people are doing boxes and sending boxes to people. So that is the number one thing, is to make sure you're leaving yourself plenty of time to determine what you're doing, what you're sending, being able to make sure you can get all of the pieces that you want and then getting them together. So someone like myself and my company can help you with a timeline on that. So
Awesome. Well, speaking of time, I was enjoying my part-time lover and lost track of time. I never thought I'd say that out loud. A huge thank you to Melinda and Tina and Jeff for educating and entertaining us today. We so much appreciate you taking the time. I do have a few announcements to close things out on behalf of AAF Toledo. We are always looking for club members to be active. So if you are an AAF member, we have a lot of committees that you can enjoy and be the fun ambassador here. You don't have to be on the board to be part of a committee to participate. And I think about half of our audience today are not even AAF members. So if you enjoy the conversation, you do not have to be a marketing or advertising professional to benefit. Please consider joining. All of the information is on our website, aaftoledo.org. So I encourage you to check us out. Upcoming events, we have our Coffee with Creatives coming up on March 11th. That's held the second Thursday of every month at 9:30. The March topic, WTF is TikTok? A virtual chat about the extremely popular app and its marketing potential, moderated by our very own Melanie Dunn, who is with us today. Hey, Melanie. And Sally Stern with Hanson Inc. So join us. That's going to be a lot of fun, I'm very sure. You do need to register. You can do that through our website. And every Coffee with Creatives, we randomly select 2 lucky participants to receive a gift card to the Nutrition Spot, who is also an AAF Toledo sponsor. If you are a student or you're looking to take a new path in your marketing career, CareerCon, February 25th through the 27th is the virtual event for you. So there's panel discussions there. You'll have an opportunity for a portfolio review or even an interview. You won't want to miss it. Highly encourage you to sign up there. We have the American Advertising Awards, formerly known as the Addies, on March 4th at 7 p.m. Creative Direction, Overcoming Roadblocks is a very engaging conversation brought to us through the Mosaic Committee. That's on March 10th at 9:30 a.m. And then Lunch and Learn is taking the month off in March. We'll be back in April. On April 21st, still finalizing the details there, but the topic will be on accessibility with advertising and disability. So visit us at aaftoledo.org for information on all those events, to get registered. If you're on social, you'll find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, and Twitter. So thanks everyone for joining us today. I know I'm going to have a really great, maybe not so productive afternoon. So take care. Thanks again, Melinda and Tina and Jeff.
Thank you.